Samsung Electronics' 8-layer HBM3E chips have cleared Nvidia's tests for use. Now, how big of a deal is this? Let's connect with Professor Song Soo-young this morning. Welcome back, Professor Song.
Thank you for having me this morning. Good morning to you.
A version of Samsung's 5th generation of its high bandwidth memory chips has apparently passed Nvidia's test for use in its AI processors. Now, tell us, how important is this?
Yeah, currently the Samsung is not for front runner in the high bandwidth memory chip supplier. Actually, the demand, the consumer of these HBM3E, very most advanced chips, is just Nvidia, AMD, and Intel and Qualcomm, who has provided some graphics processing unit for the purpose of the generative AI. Currently, the generative AI, the future prospect is very promising, but however, its consumption is not at the level of it is not dominant in the semiconductor and the digital industry. So to that regard, currently, the SK hynix actually remains a dominant supplier of the HBM3Es. But Samsung has now underway to make a deal with Nvidia. And the Nvidia, the purpose looks like Nvidia is trying to make a portfolio, because the SK hynix has been they are very like some monopoly supplier in the market. So that's why currently the Samsung has been encouraged to participate in this HBM3E market and the most advanced semiconductor supplier in the industry.
So it is a big step for Samsung, considering it hasn't been a front runner in this field. Now, Samsung says that verification tests are still underway, with major clients effectively denying the claims. At the same time, Nvidia has declined to comment on the latest report. Now, why different comments here?
Yeah, why we have observed some very the opposite directions of the comments coming from the industry and some analysts. The reason, I think, is because this HBM buyer would like to have a very customized and some customer tailor-made HBM chips. But that is kind of a risk to the Samsung, because it could increase the hold-up problems, because only the HBM chips which was made too much tailor-made for some specific manufacturer or the buyer, then it is they cannot be available, or they cannot sell those products to other buyers. So that's why they have tried to adjust and deal, even though they are under the process of the optimization process. That's, I think, the most appropriate description of the current situation between the tussle between Samsung and Nvidia. Of course, Nvidia has a very strong incentive to encourage Samsung, as I mentioned earlier, because they do not want to be controlled, or they do not want to be susceptible only to the SK hynix. That's why the Samsung and Nvidia and SK hynix are engaged in some three-way negotiation process. That's why we have seen some opposite comments coming from different sources of the information.
Then what happens if the two companies actually end up signing a supply deal for the approved 8-layer chips? And apparently deliveries are expected to start by the fourth quarter of this year. Now, how will such a deal change the HBM market, like you said, when SK hynix is taking a lead here?
Yeah, currently the HBM market takes almost only the 10% of the semiconductor all market. But Samsung has a very strong demand for Samsung chips, even though it's less advanced, such as third generation of HBM chips are very popular in the Chinese companies, Chinese manufacturers. The reason, it is a way to circumvent the U.S. regulation against China. So, but SK hynix only have the consumption for the SK hynix HBM in US. So that's why the SK hynix has been recently awarded with some support from the commercial department of US, and they are going to build up the packaging company in Indiana in the US. But of course, the Samsung has also established build up some manufacturing factory in Austin or in Texas. But however, still, Samsung would like to keep some kind of a portfolio of the selling the chip products into not only in the US, but also in China and other countries. So that's why they have some differences. However, currently in HBM, these high bandwidth memory chips market, actually, SK hynix has started their R&D and manufacturing in 2013. But Samsung had started at 2015. That's why Samsung is a little bit behind the SK hynix. But the prospect of the HBM market is, according to SK hynix, they expect 82% per year increase of the consumption of semiconductor, HBM conductor. But we have to wait and see what happened to the generative AI, even though not too much over optimistic, because it could have, still we have that the general people and in the world and populace is not familiar with the generative AI and the usage of the AI. Of course, the prospect is promising, but not yet confirmed.
All right, Professor Song, thank you so much for your insight and joining us this morning. You have a wonderful day.
Oh, thank you.